Okay, fifth graders, we're going to add another piece to drawing today with our Google Draw. So again, get into that fifth grade folder. Make sure you're in the folder. And then we will add a new, more, Google Drawings. The other one we did, we called lines. This one I would like you to call shapes. All right. So let's take a look at what our options are on our toolbar. Here are my shapes. A couple of different options here with just your basic shapes, okay? Notice that nothing happens unless you click and drag. You'll get that plus sign, but nothing happens until you click and drag. Notice that I can make it really skinny and really long, or, just depends on how you drag it and what you do. So think about your shapes a little bit. Once I've done that and released it, you have to click and drag and then let it go. Look at this big long toolbar that I got. I didn't get that last time. I can change the color and the outline and the weight, just like we've done before. All right, and the border dash. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit wider so that I can do this next piece. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to begin typing. I'm not going to click on anything. I'm just going to begin typing. And I'm going to type a word. All right. That's one way to do it. You can just start typing. If you do, the font will be Arial. The size will be 14. The color, the text color will be black. But, and you know how to do this. This is good practice. Click and drag over the top. Now I can change anything in my choices. Okay, anything I have in here. Remember the other day when we talked about line thicknesses and you could only have a certain number of, or a certain amount of thicknesses? Well, here I can do anything I want. So I'm going to go from a size 60 that you see right now to a 95. Notice that there's no 95 on my list, but I can do that. All right. The next thing that's on my list, as long as I'm selected, I'm just going to keep going. I can do a bold. So look at how that makes the letters thicker. So that's bold. Here's italics. How the lines or the letters slant or don't slant. And there's our underline. Fifth graders, again, I'm going to tell you to use that underline carefully. We don't underline everything we write. Imagine reading a book with every paragraph, every sentence being underlined. I think it would be a little bit annoying for you. So be careful with that. Use that underline just to kind of draw attention to certain words. Here's our color. Again, any options that we want. This is a highlighter. Now, I want to talk for just a little bit about this and how kids think sometimes this is how I change my color of my letters. It's not. This one changes that text color. What the highlighter does is highlights just like a highlighter would do. Okay. Again, let's be careful with that. You wouldn't typically highlight everything in a book. So I'm going to set my highlighter to transparent. That means it's not going to show up. Okay, so if you've started highlighting, everything you write is going to have that. So if I come up here and I begin to type again, right? Look, as I type, It's all highlighted. It's all the same thing. So once you turn it on, you have to turn it off or it's not going to stop. So we'll take it back to transparent and not have all that show up again. All right. Just to keep that in mind. All right. Here's my hyperlink. Again, if I chose to have you click on this shape and take you out to something else, I could do that. All right. The other thing that I want you to see is how we can align. That means where the words line up. I can have them, if I don't change it, it stays on the left. Here's where it would look if I put it in the center, if I aligned it to the right. And we will not work with justified right now. Okay, that's the last one. That's justified. We won't use that. So if you want the word to be centered in your shape, this is where you come. It's a line. And it takes us some practice to get to remember that, but that's where that's at. Now look at this below the left and center and right. This is where it lines up in your shape. So if I click the top, it's just going to move it up a little bit. It's not going to put it up in here. If I were to make it smaller, it might be able to do that. So I'm going to go back to a 14. It's still going to put it here. If I changed it to the left, it's still going to keep it here. It's not going to put it up here. Okay, just so that you know that. I'm going to go back to a bigger font so you can see a little better. All right, so we did top. Here's middle. And here's bottom. So you have where your word is in here works as well. Now this is part of this shape. So if I move this shape around on the page, the word goes with it. It's not a separate piece. This is all one. Okay. So we have lots of shapes to explore today. So I've got shapes. I want you to explore those. I want you to explore the arrows. Okay, and that one's kind of a little bit of a three-dimensional type arrow. Notice that it shows up in different colors. Okay, the two colors are a little different. Call outs. And you can get into equations too if that's what you want to do. All right. So explore. As I wander around the room, I want to make sure you're changing colors and thicknesses. Showing just demonstrating this is what I've learned. This is what I can see. Add some words to things. Change the fonts, change the sizes, change the colors. Also, I'm going to show you this too. There's always a dot on here, and that's a rotating. So if you want to, you can rotate that dot. So if when you draw it and you like, no, I want it to go down, but it won't go down, you can spin it. You can make it do what you want it to do. So take the rest of the class period until I tell you to stop working with these shapes and exploring and discovering some different things.